What the heck is the cat doing? Anyways, guys, so for this video, I've realized I have a problem. Ever since I started ghosting my lines and practicing line confidence rather than just doing my chicken scratch lines all the time, I've been really thinking that I should probably go back to basics a little bit and kind of revisit the beginning lessons I was learning. Mostly from broken draws stuff, but if you know ball, these exercises in this page are by Peter Hahn in his Dynamics Bible. So yes, you might have caught on here that I've started reading his book. You could probably, if you've seen it, you could probably tell that some of these are from the very beginning, and that's about where I am, is the very beginning of the book. But it seems to be helping. So in this video, I want to tackle basic 2D and 3D shapes, circles, squares. So we're going to start off with some circles and keep retracing the circle over and over again after our initial circles to try and get that circular form locked in a little bit more, get that repetition of the motion with our hand and wrist and elbow. And then I thought I'd do my regular ellipses. However, I figured, why don't I try a new idea for these ellipses and turn them into 3D objects? You can tell I did this with the squares and the circles, making them cylinders and cubes. Now, if you noticed, there's some bubbles around my square and cube up on the upper right here. That's usually me noting my mistakes. You can see lines that are kind of iffy, not placed right whenever I circle them like that. So that's what that is. You can tell cylinder ellipses up there. Those lines are kind of to show overall straightness of each circle, but here I'm kind of comparing them to what could be taken as similar ellipses or similar drawings practice that I did, I'd say a couple months ago. You can see the chicken scratchy lines. I mean, the shape is overall somewhat better, you could say, but the lines just really take away from it. You can definitely tell that my line confidence work is definitely helping a lot. So from here, we're going on to what I call cylinder snakes. I like this because it helps me practice perspective, foreshortening, and basic 3D rendering of a simple object all in one. And I seem to do better with cylinders. So I always like doing them a little bit more than box stacking, if I'm being honest. However, you can see me circling some things on the cylinder here. You can see that my edges are a little bit not as rounded as they should be, or maybe too rounded. Maybe the cylinder is just oblong when I'm not trying to make them oblong. So I tried a different approach with this one on my second attempt here. I realized at this point that it's easier for me to render something in 3D space from imagination if I start from the foreground and work my way into the background. But here you can see I did a correction and an initial line there. Even with that, you can still see my lines and my general shapes still need a bit of work. We're still a long way from where we want to be, being able to instinctually draw really amazing shapes right off the bat. And I've been at it for a few months, so if you guys are struggling, trust me, we all need a lot more line mileage, most likely. However, I started to do some box stacking, good old box stacking, but I always have this tendency, as you can see here, to put the boxes at the very edge of the preceding box. That really seems to bite me in the butt. But I'm not really sure how to correct that yet. So if you have any tips, let me know in the comments. Anyways, we're moving on to a typical cube grid here. Now we're starting off pretty strong on this first row. This is a little different than any other cube grids I've done before. I usually just do a 4x4 cube grid. I don't think I ended up getting to the last row on this cube grid. And honestly, with my line confidence work that I've been doing the last couple weeks, ever since I made the video on it, I think you can see a definite improvement in my cube grid work here. I think I compare it at the end, so I'll definitely show you guys at some point. But I'm trying to also implement some background lighter lines to show where the edges of the box go behind what you would normally be able to see. That seems to be helping me visualize the boxes and being able to rotate them on the next step a little bit easier. It would be a little bit harder, like raising the difficulty a little bit if I didn't do that, but I'm still very much so a noob. So definitely trying to still take advantage of any little thing that might help me to get my sea legs a little bit. Anyways, so far so good for the most part on the cube grid. I think I start falling off on this row. I think it's about halfway down too, but up until now it's not too terrible. But for some reason, every time the angles get a little bit more, I don't know, angular, a little bit harsher of an angle, my shapes start to break down. This is about as far as I've gone with probably the best accuracy in a cube grid though, so getting better and better every day. I do enjoy seeing how cleaner the lines are already. They're still very sloppy, still very much a noob, but I think the daily, practice of my line consistency up on the top left there, you can see it's from Peter Hahn's book, The Dynamics Bible. Just practicing drawing accurate lines, parallel lines, keeping the line spacing consistent, and, line control overall. I think that's been helping me a lot. So I try to do that every time I start drawing, is do a quick little grid of that. I'll be honest, guys, it's been going very good. And we've been making a lot of improvements, yes, but we still got a long way to go. And it feels really, really slow. It's almost discouraging at some points, but I mean, you just got to get the line mileage. This is over the accumulation that I've been able to get in on a week. So, I mean, that's not even that much for a week. That's someone trying to be serious about it, you know what I mean? And it's just with my full-time job, it can be really tough. So it's just going to be a slow process. It's repetitive. It's a little bit boring. It doesn't look that impressive at all. And you can see all my corrections and all my circles from my mistakes. That mid-right box that I just drew right next to right there, you can see that top should have been twisted a little bit. Like, there's always mistakes. And I mean, I'm not even a full year into this pen and ink stuff, but that's just the reality of it. I think it's just more line mileage, keep drawing, keep practicing. But I figured I'd finish this off with one more try at an ellipses. I didn't bother with the 3D stuff this time. I just figured I would just try my ellipses and then compare them to some of my older ellipses that I've done in my sketchbook previously. I like how these ellipses come out. I think these are some of my cleanest so far, to be honest, especially with how fast I drew them. But you can see, compared to my old ellipses, these are from a couple months ago, you can see that the parallel lines between the tops and bottoms are way worse on these older ones. And the lines are less sure and much lighter because I wasn't as confident, but you can see that the lines are darker, more defined, and the parallel lines are a lot more straight. The sizing is a lot more consistent. So I think we're improving. We're still improving. It's very slow, it's very boring, but we're getting there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I mean, this whole drawing journey feels a lot better when I got some friends to come along with me. And you guys have been great leaving likes. I'm hoping for some comments soon, whether they be good or bad, I don't care. I'll interact with them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really, it's been a blessing to see how much you guys seem to be liking the videos, and I can't wait to keep going. And if you guys could leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you want to keep following along on the journey, that'd be much appreciated. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for this one. I'll see you in the next video.